How are you?
Good to see you. Bonjour, ça va? We started apparently.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Charge it next. Okay.
Bonjour. Entrez. Donc, il y a déjà des choses ici. Mouvez dans l'espace, il y a des choses là, il y a des choses en bas. Et puis si vous avez des questions, je suis ici, à votre disposition. Je vais vous asseoir et rester jusqu'à l'infini. I don't know which sentence I can say without words. I don't know which sentence contains the words that I want to say. I don't know which sentence I can say without naming the words contained in this sentence. I don't know at which place in the sentence is the word that has to be said so that you can hear the sentence. I don't know if the sentence that you hear contains the words that had to be said to hear the sentence. I don't know if the words in one sentence will make this sentence that contains the words that you hear. I don't know which word in one sentence makes it possible to hear the other words also. I don't know which words you hear when I say the sentence. I don't know if the words hear one each other. I don't know if the world outside is hearing all the sentences that are contained in this world. I don't know in which sentence is the world and the word that has to be said to be inside the world. I don't know if all words inside the world will find place in one single sentence. I don't know if the words are isolated from the world when the sentence had been pronounced. I don't know in which sentence is the word that has to be said so that you can hear what is going on. I don't know when I say the sentence if you are aware about the number of the words contained in this sentence. I don't know if the length of the words is the same than the length of the words inside the world. I don't know if the sentence wants to be in relation with the words. I don't know if the world needs sentence in order to say the words that are contained inside the world. I don't know if the sentence is asking words where they are coming from. I don't know if the number of the words in my sentences is the same as the number of the words that you hear. I don't know if the number of words talking about numbers is the same as the sum of all the numbers that are contained in this sentence. I don't know if there is a relation between the number of words and the trees. I ask myself if it wasn't better to say a sentence in the shadow of a tree than to write it on a page without seeing the sun. I don't know if the words are inside the sentence to be protected from the sun. I don't know if the shadow of the sentence on this page is visible. I don't know what is the relation between one page and the sun in the summer. I don't know if you have to protect the sentences that are inside the sun. The words and sentence. The relation between... I don't know. I don't really... The words and the sum number of the sentence. Please, I invite you to take a scissor or two when you find it. And I will take away now everything that already existed and say to you, thanks for being here, and everything that is in the space is belonging to my work here in India. It started very early and it is here inside because in some way it influenced my work, in some way these are the signs showing how I can be in interaction with the environment, with artists, with writers, and this I would like you to help me to discover. If you have the scissors.
Upstairs on the floor.
But very carefully, these are all, in the best case is each one will take one and fold it and fold it.
You can hang it? That's possible.
Do we do this? And there are no nails in the ball. Place it down against the wall. Oh, that's pretty. I love that. That's pretty. Oh, nice. I'm on this. Yeah. Cool.
And I take a bit and like.
Any questions? So I thank you really a lot having made this possible, because it is exactly like for me a circle in between the beginning and something that will come to an end. And it doesn't look very circular, mostly in lines, but it is in fact something that forms a whole, something that goes together. So you don't know it, but I know it. And well, if you have any questions or if you can talk, and
so we can start conversation. Yeah, you can all get coffee from the top, like, you take coffee and come, you can have a conversation. So
we can have the conversation, yeah, here.
Yes. You can go take coffee and come down. Coffee is in the flask. Everybody can go who wants coffee and go and take it down. We can start this conversation. So when did you start working? I just start this conversation. So,
yes.
When did you start working on this? Like, how is it? Could you tell us a little bit about how you started this whole process? So we can enter this.
Well, you mean this process specifically?
No, how it emerged, like, because you're leaving in a couple of days.
Yes.
So you've been working on many things while you were here.
Oh yes. The main thing for me is the immersion in the environment. And I had no specific projects to realize before. I had some conducting lines that I can talk to you about when we are upstairs, which is very important also. The lines I put here or upstairs that leads to this map, and so how this is connected in relation with this. So for me it was mostly being inside the environment and getting through this synergy in between me and the other, all the things around me, energies that will make realization happen, which is normally the case when you're an artist or writer. Then you see something and you want to produce it in some other stuff. So, for example, the klaxon, or Symphonie de klaxon, this horn, here came out all these. It's the first time that I see them together like this visual forms, yes? And these are all things I created during this day, and they express also what happened with me in this environment. For example, klaxon. When you come from Europe, where it is very, very silent in the streets, and you come in this chaos of New Delhi, I said to myself, so what shall I do? Or I will say all the time myself, oh, it's so loud, or you just make something out of it. And suddenly I was hearing to it, and each single horn became a subject, became individual, and it was for me like an emergence of a concert, as when you have hundreds and thousands of musicians that are together making music. Because no horn is the same than the others, and I made out a horn concerto, and this came out visually like this. These are all different policies and different colors and different types, the size of the letters. So this is one, and this then, of course, when you think about this horn, and all the drivers, or the tuk-tuk in the street, and you go then from there further, you can become aware that the public space is very majority occupied by men. There is a very few space for women, So in all the spaces that I went through, it is in the street or in the markets. Yes, this I also remarked. Coming from a place where it is not like this, where it is very equilibrium, how the space is investigated by those. And then, as I'm a little bit sensitive to this, anyway, I was thinking about the metro. I went into the metro, and the first time I went into the metro, I did not know that there was a wagon for women. And I was in one of those endless lines of these guys trying to go into the metro, and I said, oh, I mean, only women, is it forbidden for women to take a metro or what? I did not understand at all what was happening, but there was another metro station, and then someone said to me, yeah, go in the first wagon. This is what happened then. The first wagon was very, very, very far away. It was over there, and when I arrived at the first wagon, the metro was already left. So I also became to be habituated when I wanted to travel in the metro and take the first wagon. I always had to be never in the rush. And to know that the train my left until I arrived there.
Once I got fined for going in the compartment. Once I got fined, I had to pay the penalty for going in the ladies' coach.
Yeah, you had a penalty.
Yeah, I paid 250 rupees. On my birthday.
So you were the 1% of men that tried to take the women's train. Anyway. But then, yes, I asked myself further, and this you cannot see downstairs because you have to read it. So you can all go and read it, but I can also tell it. Then I wrote inside why, and no, it's not what is written, that is what I say. Why the fuck is there only one wagon for women? That's not possible. I mean,
you need more.
Huh?
You need more wagons.
Yes. Of course we need more wagons for women. Why in the whole metro where you have 7, 8, 9, 10 wagons, there is one wagon for women and all the others are for the guys? I mean, that is absolutely absurd. I was thinking.
All the others are for both the genders. All the others are meant for men as well as women. It's like if we want to segregate ourselves, we can go to the women only. But of course we want to segregate ourselves because going into the men's wagon is still almost, you know, very intimidating.
Yes, and for this, I mean, it's absolutely false and falsifying the problematic if you call it segregation. Because the fact that there is the wagon for women is not a fact of segregation, it's a fact of security.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes. It's not segregation anymore. Segregation is already limited and in a very negative aspect to show how women have to be sometimes among themselves to be safe, no?
Because so, men stay and they misbehave a lot of times, I've seen that. There are people who go to the metro, men, they stay and maybe laughing at people. So
yes, of course you feel uncomfortable. And I, for myself, I felt very comfortable in this wagon for women only, but me don't have, I never had this. Where I live, there is no such for men or such for women, but there is no reason at all. I mean, you can go wherever you want, and you don't even think about it. But here, I had also, I mean, I was traveling by myself, and this is what you can read on the strip upstairs in this line. When I was coming here for 3 months, by myself, as a woman, how will I feel the place and how will I live in this space? For me, this was very interesting. What in the daytime, the question is not there, but what happens when I want to go out at 9 or at 10? And then it became, I don't know how you live this, a little bit critical. When I was walking it was mostly a little bit around after midnight, and I decided to go back by myself by walking. It was only 15 minutes walk. It was a very strange feeling. I never had this feeling when I was moving in the street. Because, whenever I wanted to go out, and then I heard also other women that, and each time I left somewhere, even in a taxi, give me a call when you arrive, and give me a call when you come, and give me this and this. Absolutely, you do it, no? But I never ever experienced this before. So this is the security. At the same time, it can come into the inverse, that the security becomes the control system also, because you can never ever not say where you are going and where you are leaving and what you are doing. You are always have to communicate. As a woman, I mean, I'm 51 years old, yes, and you have your age. I don't know exactly how you do it, but it is extremely strange for me that I have to say something like, oh yes, I arrived, even if I did it and I know you have to do it, but it's schizophrenic, really, for me. And then, out of this, I made this visual poem you can see there. So how I produce this feeling of safety, feel safe, and then the letters, they go away, and finally you don't feel really safe. It's a kind of visual form to express something that goes behind the word "feel safe." Yeah? Visually, how you can produce the feeling that is there. And so, this is how yes, and for me, another thing, yes, I mean, you want to know now, you want to hear this, okay. I went around, I walked. I come from where I come from, yes. I come to the, how was it called, okay, you go there, and then there are all these political groups against sexual violence. Yeah, okay. And then you see a guy hanging in the tree that had been hanged. No? I mean, this first, when I saw this, I didn't understand the word. No? We went behind the death sentence, we went behind so many things, and suddenly you go on the street and you see the application for hanging people, even if it is murderers or violators. We agree with it. But what? These are the experiments that I was confronted with, and this had been introduced into a world like a crisis. So this was another way of visual poetry, and then we have a black space also, and then sometimes I just play with words. No? It's not always this it's not always it's just the wanting to do it. And yes, and then all the objects that are there across the street, poetry. Yeah, this is a typical word game where what I work with. I fragmentate the syllables, I fragmentate the words, and very often the fragment of the word leads you to another signification. So I was thinking, okay, I crossed the street, but it's a very hard job to cross the street in very many times. And in the word poetry, as I'm a poet also, we have poetry, and in poetry we have stripes. So we came out this stripe across the street. So these are games. And then there is this it's called landmarks. These poetry, landmarks. When I call the taxi, by the way, I never take a taxi where I live because it is impossible to pay the taxi. It's so expensive where I come from, wherever. I took a taxi, and then they always question me which landmark. And I knew landmark. I didn't understand the question, what does it mean, landmark? I said, landmark, I don't know. I said, yeah, what's a landmark? And so, and then I understood that it is so complicated to find the places inside the blocks and that you have landmarks so people know where they have to go. So I made this painting of landmarks. Now they are all red. Why? Because red is a nice color. Sometimes not.
Danger. Danger for women.
Danger for women, yeah, thanks, of course. Because, well, we can talk about it. Even when I came here, and this is also there's residency I love, but there's not just me inside India, inside the residency, there's everything that I hear on the television, that I hear on the radio, the things that are going around, you know. So I arrived in the very beautiful residence place where I live. There is a photograph, an initiation of a scenery of a killing in Iran. And my photographer, I forgot the name now. And I came inside there and I said, yeah, of course, this is a reality surrounding us. And then some days later, there was this big killing in Paris. And then I put on the television, and there was the consecutive on 2 days, there was the announcement of some women having been killed and found in South Delhi, or I don't know what. So these are all things that, of course, they had me with this, and this is when there's missing one word, a letter, as you see, that can be read, and it can also be when you go sound-wise from red, you come easily to dead. So, but then the others, they are much more lighter, no? So, these you want more or do you want any questions?
This installation here, left side.
Going? Oh yes. You want me to tell you the story? Yes? But it's a long story. And it's a beautiful one. When I went to Kochi, and I have, this is a coincidence, it's not my fault. Kochi, I had a coach. For my residency, I had someone who was more or less someone who I could address, not to feel too alone, and who helped me. And I said to him, look, I'm going to Kochi. There is the LILA, do you know someone? And he said, okay, you have absolutely to see Valsan Polarapola, an absolute great artist in India. And then the first day I arrived, I went into, he had a big yard like this, 5 times big like this room, with all trees and nature, devouring nature and really. And I was sitting there and going and walking, nobody else but me, because it was so hot, of course, I'm the only person doing it. But you go around and you don't know, is this a nature, is this, has this been done by the artist, or what is what, and suddenly you see a root in the wall, and then you see a CD on the wall, and you say, okay, no, this is not really the nature, yeah. But then you go further, and you see resins like this, the roots, and you say, okay, so this is more nature. And so every time you go around, and I walk out, and I was sitting listening to the birds, and suddenly the birds even become. There's a musician, he's called John Cage. Do you know John Cage? John Cage is a performer and a musician, and he made a piano piece where the musician was playing 4 seconds or something without any sound for a minute. Sorry. And then the people, they left. And for him it was to make us become aware about silence. What is silence, and which relation, and we have to see that there is no silence. And for me, being in this space, it was like this. What is nature, what is human intervention, and it's not every art deficient nature, because we are nature. So what is the difference between art and nature? Okay. You can go into the video like this. Anyway, and the next day I called him, I said, voilà, I'm here, and he told me, yeah, come we meet tomorrow in my space. So we went in the space, and he told me, oh, let's I bring you to a market inside. And we had been in a very small shop, and there is, it has nothing to do with holy. Huh? This is where I bought these colors, in this little market in Kochi. And I took them with me, and so we went in the car, he was listening to some music that I gave him for myself. I can make you listening after, maybe we have some time. And we went back in his yard. And in his yard, it is surrounded by a big wall of red bricks. Now very old, with leaves on it and roots, and and suddenly he said to me, if you want, you can intervene in my space. But there was a ladder against the wall. And I said, okay, I will intervene in this space. And I climbed on the ladder, and I started to break the first ladder, and suddenly the second go, and I took the ladder, it was really hot. I was standing there 2 or 3 hours, right on the 2 walls, going before. So now in this coach is finishing today, yes, but anyway, on this big wall, I think I show you the photo I have, I think, there was written going before. And I wanted to write going behind, and he told me, yeah, you could write going before. I said, why should I go write going before? And then I started to think, what there is a difference before and behind, beside the fact that we are behind and before. But when I said going before, and again I said going behind, and what does it mean going before, no? And then I decided, okay, as he offered me the space, I will not be too serious, and I wrote going before. And, well, we spent the whole day. It was very nice, and I left. And then I intervened at Ambedkar University in the Performance Art Department. And I made a performance with all these instruments that are inside here that I don't use today. I can tell you why, but I can also show you why anyway. And then I made a performance where the going before, this was only half of the monologue, the other one is because it was too stretched. But on all this I wrote in my place where I stayed, Residency, going before. I retook the same words and I knew that I was going to do something with pigments because, yes, this is important. When I was meeting this Japan, who invited me to intervene in his classes, I told him, oh yeah, I saw he was just here some days before, interventing in our university, or some weeks before. And I thought, yeah, this is amazing, these coincidences, how all this goes together, no? And then I decided, because of this, and because of this, and because I knew I would make a performance, I wrote going before this word that I wrote on the wall, yes? And then during the performance, I was walking on the rouleau, like this, and while I was walking, the word came up. Yes, and I was spreading out all these pigments that came from Kochi. So for me this was a link to this. And when I knew then that I was going to do something here, I said, okay, so I will make the round and I will finish it like this and I will make a circle, and these pigments, I will use them one last time here in India, reminding me about this nice meeting and what I didn't know when you, first of all, this was great, thanks, because this I said thanks to you all. And I put this here, I never thought that you would open it. Never in my life, I had thought about this, no? And suddenly it was there, and I saw going, and then I said, yeah, okay, the word before is missing. And then I decided, because of this, I decided whatever could happen with this rouleau that I took, because I had the last one, then I started to write before with the pigments, to use them once again.
Oh. Before going.
Before going, yes. And this only, I would never have written it if you would not have been so great to open this one that I had put there.
No, but what were you keeping that for, like, you know, because you said open everything. We thought that was also supposed to be open, but what were you planning to do with that?
Nothing.
Just keep it there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Something like, something like there. Okay, these roses I bought, they're in Zamudin. I love this place in Zamudin. For me, it was one of the most nicest places I discovered with others in South Delhi, And so I took these flowers, and all this is for me like an installation, you know, these cards and this. I put this what I found in the space. I'm not just performing, I make many often installations where I also use the space, and I think what element in the space can bring me to do something, what I don't know before. And for example, another story I can tell you is about this. This was when we come to a place and you don't know so many things that are in this place. I bought them, I put them in the fridge, and there is Sunita, she is the woman that comes to my house. Also something I had to discover here, because we don't have this where I come from. Someone who comes to your house, you clean your house, and she also agreed to make cooking for me. And I told her, oh yeah, because she asked me, what can I do today? And I said, yeah, look in the fridge, there are potatoes and all this. And she told me, yeah, but there are no potatoes. I said, yeah, of course there are potatoes. And she said to me, no, there are no potatoes. So then she opened it for me, and I discovered the most sweet fruit I never ever tasted in my life. So I brought in here a little bit objects that are linked to my experience and things like this. And And the ladder, of course, is from here. I found the ladder behind there. And as I had to, I needed a ladder to fix this black strip over there. I just kept it in the space. And for example, what you see here, this is just, I came, I turned and I saw myself, my shadow. And then I said, okay, this can be for all of us, no? We will be all in a portrait for a moment during this exposition. So when you go in front of you, is there because you are inside the frame. Yes, you can do everything. You can do everything. So, and the other stuff there is another experience, is the electricity here. Yes? There is a call for the moment not available for the moment. Because, yes, the electricity just goes off. And you stuck there, you're working on maybe on your computer, no, something very important, and there's no electricity. And you did not think before that you have to make sure that the computer is always charged in case it could happen then, and then it breaks down because we didn't push the battery. So all these are experiences for me when when I was here, and this, then I saw the work was in space and I made this. And yes. And I think I made also the workshop at 9 School of Art the other day with kids, and all in the workshop in America and for me all these are in the discussions and in the interaction things that give me a lot, that are for me so important moments to reflect my work.
I think I really enjoy these works, these random experiences that it's like you can connect to them.
Yes.
I'm not sure about the gender thing that you were talking about.
Yes.
Maybe it was your experience, even if it's our experience at times, and then, I have different opinion on that. But I think I really like, and what you've done at the entrance also, the text now. Have you put the text? Yes. Yeah. So, yeah.
What is your experience?
I don't know. I don't feel threatened by this kind of even if we call it segregation or it's like you want to fight this, and you want to be in this space. And you want to experience it, even if it comes as a fear, but then you eventually have to be in the space to constantly claim it, and that's what it's about. So I don't believe in all these reservations that are done, especially for men, women and all that. So it's like there can be a homogeneous space and you have to keep, I think it is about your state of mind. So gradually you have to make yourself that confident and keep working towards it, and you have to give your bit to what society threatens you with, and you have to every time come back and so yeah, it's not really a crisis for me. I see it as a challenge which you can always work on, keep working on.
Yes. Well, for me, I mean, there are many things. Now, this is one experience that I had, and coming from where I grew up, and so the danger also exists. I have friends that have been abused, that have been violated. I mean, there is now this. It was just about walking in the night, yes, all the rest, and I don't, as I told you before, when I see there is a woman and waiting for a woman, I think it's not at all a question of segregation. No, segregation is, but with this where it becomes very ambiguous. Now when they are for men and for women, for yellow and for red, I'm not sure.
Huh? There are taxis now for women only.
So what?
That's
yes, but you know, we had, this is absolutely okay. Still we live in a society where the guarantee of security for women is not majoritarily given. We have to have this. We had parking spaces in Germany. In the night, you have places that are for women. The women can go there and big parking and park their cars, and there are cameras of surveillance, and no one can come and do whatever, because the danger is there. And that there is not a wagon for women. It is not just only since then. It was something that had been reclaimed by the women here in New Delhi and all over India in the 70s and 80s that fought a lot for the rights of women, as in our places, but everywhere. Everywhere the women were fighting that the law is changing, making not when you get married that all this what you have belongs to the married, and a lot of laws I don't even know, no, but I know where I come from that we have to change them also. And today there is violence in the inside of the family because we talk of the outside. Inside you have it also. And matrimonial violation and sexual abuse is very current everywhere. But for example, in Switzerland today, when a woman is attacked by her husband, you call the police and immediately they come and they take him out of the apartment and he has not the right to come back. So, I mean, you cannot deny that it exists. Until we cannot deny until it exists, we have to create spaces where security is given. Even if you don't feel this, you have the chance to get it everywhere else. But one who has not this, and when I came here in the beginning, I did not have this feeling of security, and I went there. Cool.
Yeah, it's about, yes, of course, it's about your experience, it's about my experience and how I'm trying to shape up something that is, you know.
But our experience goes beyond the facts. The observationable facts. But voilà, I'm not here coming an artist to reclaim the rights for women. And so, even if I am generally very sensibilized and make gender studies and I know a lot about things, I can give you one example. I was working in a school, a lot of schools with adolescents, and there we also have the question about occupation of the space. And you put in the playground one ping pong table. Okay, the ping pong table is always occupied by the boys who play ping pong. And then they say, oh, but the girls, they don't want to play ping pong. Anyway, they don't do this. No? And then I look at the woman, they don't take the metro here. We don't need more ratings for the metro because there are no women going outside to take the metro. I know, it's really by very intelligent people. So then we said, okay, let's do the second table. And then the second table, ping pong table, was also occupied by the boys. And the girls said, oh, he has a part for him, he has a part for him, all right. You know, this interaction and this relation. And then we started, okay, we have to go further. We take the second table and put sign reserved for girls. And I can tell you the next day, the girls were playing, and there was nobody coming and chasing them to play their game. But they all played, not because it's not true that girls don't play football or don't play this. It's just a habit of occupation.
If I say something, your experiences go toward my experience in Delhi. I mean, the metro sign, the market, going out by myself. I still don't go out by myself. I've completely given up. I mean, I don't even care anymore. But the words, I mean, feeling safe, the red dots. In markets, there are no women vendors. There are only men vendors everywhere. Like, men even sell makeup in Delhi. I've never seen men sell women's makeup anywhere in the world. It's just outrageous, you know.
Yes, of course. There are many things like this. Yeah. And when you go around and you become aware about this, that there are mostly no women. Even in shops.
In shops. Somebody, a friend of mine was saying this the other day, and I use it here. What he said, that's why is there so much violence and staring and intimidation that a woman feels on the street because there are hardly any women on the street. Like, and if you see in the morning, it's the men who are moving around. And everywhere in the mother dairy, where you get milk, and the vegetable wala, in the shops, it's basically the male, who is moving around freely. You don't see women, beyond a certain time, in a certain, like beyond a certain space. So as you said, reclaiming a space, maybe I really appreciate her spirit when she says that we have to reclaim and keep on fighting. I really appreciate it, but I am 45, I don't go out at all after
that. I understand that, what you're saying. Even I feel this question, many times it arises, and I feel really helpless at times. You said inside you, but I always feel that, there's a source to this. We are trying to preserve something, but only then we are creating this wind-up, and that's the way I think. I don't think we are coming any nearer, and we are not trying to create a balance. Rather, we are all creating a sort of imbalance, because we are creating this gap more and more and more. We are by reserving many places and many things, not just gender. I think caste, class, everywhere we want some reservation. We want something, everywhere we want.
But then it's the easy fix.
And it's okay, if we kind of structure our thoughts like this, like a concrete, and don't try to really, work through it. Like, you have to penetrate, you have to make, our experiences have perforations. I feel I cannot be sure about one thought. I have to keep building that thought, and I can't just be sure, okay, this is what it is, and this is how society is, so I should just accept it. No, otherwise there are perforations, there are holes, there are things leaking.
Yeah, of course we have to contribute to a change, but this is what we all do, and this is what the women did in the 60s, 70s, 80s, who were fighting. We, now the young, who can really profit from all this, no? Of course. But this is, I did not come here and I said I want now make a lesson to how you have to comport. It is very, very personal feeling, no? We all move inside this, we all go through this, and we all are strong, and we all know we have to confirm ourselves.
Oh yeah, we find our own battles.
Yes, we have to find this room, and as many individuals we are, as many possibilities there are to defend this place and this space. But this is really what I saw around here, and this is not a critic, this is not you have to do like this or it has to be like that. No, I was really the last one to...
I think it is this moment, and then it will be something else in another moment.
Yes, absolutely. You can also, now I have the very, turn it upside down, and you start with the E that is missing. You can do it? You can do, I feel safe, feel safe, feel safe. You can just turn it upside down.
Oh, yeah.
Then you have the absolutely...
Should I do it?
Yes. Because I have red fingers, and this is a very an art object, so it cannot be... and when I say them, or if you are interested. So when you put around feel safe, and you go from the upper to the bottom, you will feel safe. I mean, it changes. It's another interpretation.
It's a base forming.
Yes, feel safe and go, and no one can make it disappear. Because of course, I don't want it to disappear because I don't feel safe. When I don't feel safe, I have to confirm myself. Yes.
So it's both ways.
Yes. Yeah, you can. This was a this was a way to move around. You can also make a turn, that it turns. The fact is that there is a reality, and we have to deal with it. And we have to deal with it in a way that we build up a society where you don't see 90% of the environment around you being men, and some women walking very fast on the trottoir to go somewhere. This is not
There is also something which I want to add, like when you have this kind of labels, there's also a kind of presupposition that the danger is always coming from men. Yeah, as you rightly said, there is kind of polarity which is being built. As though all the danger that women are facing is coming from men. So there is danger is like a human being faces danger. It's just like it's a kind of jungle. You faces threats and dangers from all over. kind of binary kind of situation that you create all the time. Every time you're creating this binary. The danger is
you also know these men who are facing a lot of problems.
Absolutely.
So, in legal matters especially, men are like, they face a lot of problems because they just copy paste the whole section and they are just, so there are many angles to this.
It's also sometimes, like in a forum like this, when we are thinking about this, it's very interesting that, we are all, like, especially, like, we had two artists, like, before thinking we had Mariam. Mariam also was kind of raising some of these questions about, like, how you come into a new space, and so you feel a little strange about this. But I am very curious listening to these two presentations, and I am just throwing this open to everybody to think about, like, they are both coming from a certain society where you come into this space and you feel a little strange. So that means there is a marked difference in the way it is in that society. So how did a particular society emerge, evolve into that space? So we have to actually think about that movement which allows a society, because it's in the same time, we're talking about simultaneity. It is at the same time that another society exists where, even as all these dangers are existing, there is a certain kind of physical possibility which is being lived. So how do we move from here to that thing? So there's no point in keeping on saying that this is it. But then I think we have to also think about how to move towards that. That way your this sense of strangeness is really helping us think, like, as to what is it? And also we are all people who are traveled outside. It's not like as though we are, most of us who are sitting here, we all really.
Can I ask one question? There are some women, who does, when you are out, call when you arrive at home, and who does not? Is it really?
I never call, I never inform anybody. I don't do that usually.
But I know that many do it.
Yeah,
yes.
Their parents are worried. So
yes, I do that. I'm in a joint family, so I do that very religiously when I'm not at home. If I'm going to a friend's place, so I'm supposed to inform her. Also, one is I missed the first half. I came a little late. And there's just an interesting instance that a friend of mine shared. Two of my friends, they both went to Hyderabad once. And they were sharing their experience as far as women were concerned. One was really fair, the other was a little dusky. The dusky one said, I felt the city is extremely safe. The fair one said, there was this group of men, and I was right outside the hotel, and it was 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and they tried molesting me in front of everybody. So both the girls, both same age, everything, friends, and had a very different experience. I think the idea of other is very important as far as India is concerned. And like everywhere. So the othering, when that happens, they do. There's some sort of protection that you get just because you're some color and you gel in with that community that you're living in. I think that would be everywhere, no matter where you go.
I would like to share something. Like, I feel already very old, and I feel like these women are trying to claim the space. I have surrendered, and I was at a train station. I go with a taxi driver whom I know for 12 years. I had to catch a train at 11:30. I reached the train station, New Delhi station, which is very, very alive at night. But I find out that the train is at 2:30. I keep waiting because I have sent the taxi driver back. Now I come. Then at 2:30, I wait. I find out that the train will be coming. This was in the foggy time, December. It will be at 4:30, and that was also not sure. So imagine from 11:30 to 4:30, then it became 8:30. The whole night I was waiting at the station because I could not take up a taxi which I do not know. Finally, the whole night I waited and I took up the train at 11:30 next morning. This was December and this happens in our country, so don't be, this is another story.
But I also want to open some things like this, because I go out at all times. I drive in the city at 12 o'clock in the night, I come back home at this time. So it also, as Priti said, it's a kind of personal thing also, like, UK, I go out at all times. But I completely understand that there is this danger existing. But there is another thing about this, like when I go out, or I also call up Raju, my husband, and tell him, like, I'm out, I'm here, excellent. I completely do this. But he also does this. He is more religious than me, he is never.
That's true. I have the same with my boyfriend.
Yeah, he is never in the soul that way.
And you know what, sometimes I do that with him.
It's not a general experience at all. In this 18 years that I've known him, it's never, it's I who failed this. He has never, he goes out of this house and he tells me where I am and what I am. I completely know his, and when we are in other countries also, like I'm sitting in some country, he is sitting here, or he is sitting in some other country, I know his thing, he's here. I sometimes okay. But it is about like, in a city, in a place like this, you can feel, you can meet with an accident, you can meet with so many things, so it's good if you love somebody. For me, there is a possibility of,
it's not about gender, but it's just about the space we're in, it's not safe.
Don't you think that, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I've been listening to this conversation for a very long time, and I think, given that all the women are saying, I think the one male voice needs a chance. I have 2 points here. One, we talk about segregation as a matter. But let's take the segregation in a much broader context. We have societies where there is an absolute segregation. There is a society which is a partial segregation. I think in India we are somewhere there. And there are societies where there is no segregation, which is where perhaps we look at the European context. My only point here is that does that make environment less safe or safer or any different? Number 2, when we are talking about that, we all want to share, and like you said, that wherever you go and you want to say that, okay, I have arrived, or I am reaching, or now I am here, and I will be coming back home. I think all of us do it, irrespective of male or female, and I think even I do it. I'm sure sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't think it's necessary. But all this has happened, say, in last 15 or 20 years because of the availability of certain kind of technology. Imagine a time when none of this was available. Then what was the situation? Would you stop going out? I'm just saying that let's take this thing back, say 20 years. But suppose there was no phone call that you inform your parents or your family or your friend or your wife or husband, whoever. Would that mean that people would not step out of the house because I can't tell, I can't inform? I'm just throwing this open as a question back on everyone. Just suppose there was a society, suppose we decided that, like one day we decide that we are not going to be using our cars. Suppose we decide that one day or one week in a year we will not use our mobile phones. Then what happens? Would we all just sit at home and not step out? Isn't that something very dreadful? This is actually saying that we have so much dependence on these gizmos.
Yes, and it's also the environment which that has created.
Exactly, I was going to come to that because what a lot of people I know who feel, mostly women, is that it's also an added stress. That if you are constantly either telling someone you're safe or you've reached, and I think in some parts what also happens because we do live in a patriarchy like it is today, there is some sort of control which you mentioned, which also
also families or maybe partners that have exercised it. That you have, everyone knows your whereabouts, where you are, and your plans if they change. Everyone knows at what point, where you are. And, people, I'm sure some women feel that's a complete lack of freedom for them as well. To constantly inform someone exactly where I am.
But it is, if it's one-sided and forced, then it becomes a kind of...
For sure, but
what the basic thing has got a point, like I remember clearly that when it's not so far away.
I would call it without
schools. In the morning we go out and then we invariably used to come back. 4 o'clock the school, I would roam around and come back. All these 10 years I'd come back at 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the evening. No, my parents had never asked me, where were you and all sorts of things. Like, if it gets to be 8 or 9, then people will get worried. Otherwise, it's an understanding. So there is a kind of understanding that the equipment, tools which are available during, in a particular period, there's a kind of societal understanding of where we are.
So it is also a very basic, structuring how you are, you are navigating, So it is very important in how we are, constantly breaking this and, constantly making it according to what, we look at life as, it's not important that what has come. We as women, or I think everybody has this responsibility for their own selves to create.
So on the contrary, I think that this has probably created more fear psychosis. I mean, ask a teenager. I have teenage children, and I know. They are also. Now teenagers start going out to their own get-together, their parties, their birthdays, or whatever. They finish their exams and want to have a celebration. So if you tell them that okay, what time you are coming back, or should I come and fetch you, or should I send the car, or whatever. They tell us very clearly that please don't call us. We will call.
But if something goes wrong, so who will be blamed? If you love someone, you have to care for that.
That's again I'm saying that's your fear for your loved ones. Things did go wrong earlier also. Let's take back to say again 90. The mobile phones. I'm probably older than most of the people here, so I have seen the mobile phone technology enter this country. It was the year 1995. Believe me, there was like that was great.
So can I just say something what you said? When I love someone I have to care about them, okay? When I'm a parent and I'm responsible for making kids growing up or adolescents, this is something very different than being in a love situation, adult to adult. Nobody who ever been in a relationship says, I love you, so I have to know where you are, and when you come back, and where you go, and what you wear, and what you dress, and all this shit. No, I do this, and there's nobody who can influence this, or who can, and not for all the love, because then, I don't need this as a sign that someone loves me, but it's not the same thing with children, Of course, when you have a kid, you have to be, the connection has to be there to know. But that it is so present also. You said it was a question about religion. I'm not religious, I have no religion, so I don't know exactly about this. But for me, this is also not very separated. Is it religion, or is it maybe yes a gender, or do we hide the gender problematic because we can call it religion and so we are all content, This is not also an issue. No, you have to face that there is a problematic in society, it's here or there or wherever, and it's best to go through it, And you say, you feel old. Don't feel old, because I'm much older than you, I tell you. And I think the question of age is not important. You can be very young and very stoned already in your mind. So, not stoned, stoned. It doesn't move, not being stoned. You can do with a beer out. Yes, maybe. But, I'm very happy that you had this problematic and that it came like this. I think it is because something that somewhere moves inside of everybody here. Because I'm not a gender artist. So, whatever the sentence was, what I was writing upstairs, because I'm a performer and a performance writer and an author and a writer. So yes, there was not here it is. So I switched also in between. And another thing that you said about this relation, and this I will show you when I will have a book that will shortly come out. It's not a poetry book, it's a Residency. A book about autobiographic stories, no? Linked to my family, my experience in Germany, Switzerland, and so. And the photo, which makes the cover, is a photo that I took last autumn when I was the first time in India. It is a ladder on the roof. And yesterday the editor, she approached me and she said, how do we call this photo with the ladder on the roof? And as there was the ladder also against the wall of this Weizen artist, I said we called, do you know how I called? The going before, yes. So now going before will continue in Switzerland, in Geneva, where I am from, with a photo from a roof I took in India last summer. So for me, you know, this link to India, it's very, very important, and it's very, yeah, it's very present in all my work, even in my poetry, because this is all aspect that you did not see now. I'm a sound poet, yes, and I have a rather rhythmic poetry, which is very linked to tabla music, and I'm making maybe a collaboration with a tabla player. So because when I perform, so I made a whole and my poetry, which is inside there is a lot of poems where it's not the meaning that is leading me somewhere, it is the sound that brings me to the next verse. I'm not a murmur, I'm not wanting to enclose people in what I want to say. I want people to feel what is transmitted in the sound that I offer, yes? And I have also written a poem, it's upstairs, it's also rhythmic, dedicated to Sunita, who came to help me in the kitchen, and this is about chapati. So I made a whole poem about Sunita and how she made the chapati, because in the moment when she told me, will you roll the chapati? I said, yes, of course. But you know, when I roll it, where I come from, it's mostly for pizza, and pizza, when you roll pizza, it's really to go, so it's so hard. And then, yes, I recall. And I did, and this poor chapati was completely smashed. So then she showed me very nicely how you roll a chapati. But at the same time, I was working on this rouleau that I had here. So we were two women working on the rouleau, you know? And for me this was a very, very great moment. So I wrote a poem for Sunita, which is called Chapati. It's up there somewhere. And very much of a poetry, it's really like and I mix the languages. Mixing languages is for us less habitude than for you. You have many languages. So one poem is visualiser, was people want to roll my hand, they're so confused. So people like to know the answer. And so on. I don't know, inside there I don't know them all by heart. No, but you see here, it's not, as I mix the languages, it's more the rhythm and the sound of the language that I'm playing with. So this is all an aspect that you will not see, or I can tell you some more poems if you want, that go like this. Inside here, the valise, I put it here, not just in case I can, but there are all my electronics inside. Normally I'm not with a mixer and a craft set like a DJ, and like a DJ with a beamer, and I leave the words on the space and so okay, we want to have
Are you a dancer also?
No, I'm not a dancer. I'm a musician.
You're dancing.
I play.
You dance, you have a rhythm.
Because I'm a musician, I think.
And in which language do you work? In which language there?
Oh, there are so many languages. They are French.
In Hindi also you have? In Hindi also you have?
No, because I don't know.
Okay.
I really take only the...
No.
Okay, so okay, one or two. Yes. One is like this. Superposé. Supposé, osé, poésie, pose, poésie, dicht, Ballungsgewicht. Agierst du wie Poesie, wie du wie Prostat von Sound of the inside, so is good. The silence. Geste plume touche surface. Oh, vos palabras, lo que falta, nothing. Wait. Alors que aquí nosotros, intersection, cut up, set up, onda, donde vamos?
¿Dónde vamos?
Where do we? Donde vamos?
So you say Spanish, French, wow.
Yes, Spanish, French, Russian, English, German, of course. So a little bit the languages that I mix, and that sometimes it becomes then, this is a little bit with English. It's called my guns, no, it is called another one. Ich tu was and you do too. I do something and you do too. Yes? And what I do is, as I speak several languages, sometimes one word in one language means something else in another language. So I was, was, means que, what? What is was in German, no? Or do you, no? So I meant something. Was I do, ich tu, was I tu, was ich tu, du, was I tu, ich tu, was I you, I was du, je tu, was ich tu, yes, was ich tu, was ich tu, was ich also du, was ich auch tu, was ich auch tu, am I auch du? Ich aussi, tu, je fais que tu, du, tu, was, je tu, was ich auch du, war ich auch tu, ich was du. Que fais, je do, tu fais, je tu, what is to do, was ich tu, ist for, was I tu, ist was ich tu, was ich will, was ich tu, I do, was tu, was ich tu, was du willst, tu, was du, was ich, was du was du auch tust, do, you, be, do, tu, and everything remains to do. One last maybe, the list in German is ja. There is an artist, Joseph Beuys, he's dead now. He was one of the contemporary artists who made a lot of nice things. And he said ja, for hours, the same text. It is as if I go here, ja. And this was an art piece, and there was a writer, Wolfgang Moschel, after the Second World War, which also influenced a lot my writing, my perception of words and the world. He said, it was just after the war, he said we should never go to war and vanish. And we thought after the Second World War, we thought there would be never ever any war, no more in the world, which is not unfortunately the truth. But he called a book, it's called The Sayer of No, the non-sayer. So I made et jamais. Jamais in French is never. Et jadis, c'est sometimes, a long time ago. So I made something about it. Jamais jadis, jamais jadis. Jamais jadis, jamais jadis. J'avoue, jamais. Mais si, j'ai dit, mais si. Ja, oui, j'ai dit déjà, ja. Jawohl, ja raus, ja rein, ja, nein, na. Jamais. Und aber dann? Ja, aber dann? Jamais. Never.
regarding the way you speak the words? Is it like every time it's different or it's same? Like every time you read a poem, the variations that you know, expressions and sound and everything.
Yes.
It changes. It changes.
But did you heard all the time the same thing?
Yeah. If you read the same poem twice.
If I read the same poem, if I read never ever, it's the same.
Never.
Never. Oh, I didn't got it. I didn't get it. No, whatever I do, I never in my life. I did
do it again.
I performed since 20 years. I never did the same performance, and I never read.
Même jadis. Même jadis jamais.
Même jadis jamais. No. Yes, there is a basis. No, this is like a base to have something I can lay out. But when how I end or so, was completely different. That depends who is in front of me and who is the language and the people are talking. And this, yes and no. This is a white page. No, it doesn't even exist inside here. It comes just like this.
Can you see the book?
Mm-hmm. So, but sometimes I work also with the upper tones, no? So I didn't know if you hear it, but
this kind of stuff is using beatboxing, so I've done it in space.
I never did this, but I know it. I know it, and I love it a lot. You know, this. Yes, but yeah, I know it. But I did it already before this game. And yes, there are a few women. I don't know women making beatboxing.
So you guys are more popular.
Yeah, it was.
They play ping pong or they beatbox.
Yeah. So this was just a little joke by side. So, you know, what I do is very, since all the years I do it, I have many schedules. And when I work with the visuals and with the sounds, I have really a whole instrumentarium with electroacoustic. I make compositions also, and I work with musicians a lot. If you want now, when we go drink a beer, if you have no more questions, if you have questions, we can go on, because I like questions. I can make listen to some music I did, but not here. You know, this is something that will come up, I hope. Hopefully.
What is this?
This is an autoportrait. Because this is a sign for waves, and this is my Heike Fiedler, age.
So how will you perform it?
How I will perform it? Okay. Yeah, if you want another.
No, it's lovely. I like the way.
So as I'm working in the beginning as a sound coach, I was a lot playing, a lot studying music also, music and the sounds, and phonology, where I was looking how is it possible that we hear each other? What is making the fact that I say and you hear, and why when I went and when I put the wind away, we can hear. What is the process that make it possible? No? So you study the waves and the transmission of the sound and the movement in the room, and you became aware about that the vowels and the consonants, they have different lengths and different formants. So the whole file of studies, and this contributed also to do what I do. So it's a big pool of research and art research. And here in India, this environment of sound, for me, it's amazing. And I don't know how I would do and bake without hearing it. And it is so amazing.
Can you make one of the sounds that you have heard here so much?
What?
Can you make one of the sounds that you have heard here so much in India? On the streets, I don't know. That catches you?
Well, of course, this, I will not make. It's a very interesting question.
That is one of the sounds.
Now you let me. Because, you know, I have a tree, I have a big tree in front of my balcony. I love this tree. I don't know how I will do it, neither without this tree. And there are always the birds. And all the mornings when I wake up, I have birds all over the place. You maybe open the door, there's the bird sitting here. You open the bird sitting there. Sometimes they're just sitting on the balcony door. But this presence of birds is for me amazing. Other sounds of ding, 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 or the bells when you go through the streets and you have the bells all the time, and yes. Now, despite you have this mark, this. What was? We have always these. I recorded. I made a lot of field recordings. I have every sounds I have recorded, and also these guys going always with their vegetables.
That's what I was expecting.
Huh? With their vegetables.
Yes. I was expecting this the person.
But what is for me, when I was a kid and I grew up in a place where we still had this, then it disappeared, you know, and all the little shops we had, they disappeared. And unfortunately now we have just this big supermarkets. But before and the book that comes out, there is the scene of the little girl in the cave with this window, and outside in the street she hears this voice, Obst, Gemüse, Kartoffeln, because they had a band of Obst, Gemüse, which means fruits, vegetables, Kartoffeln, you know, potatoes. So I heard this every day, and he kept coming. My mother said, "Oh, where you going?" And I took the little, "Hey, what are you doing?" And she gave it to me, you know, and then we had this big cave with this already in the book, and because I just had to proofread the book 5 times, we had this big stuff, potatoes. We put them on inside, big sack, really big, and they fall down, and then you go in the cave with the little ring, and you put them inside, and then they fall. So it's always plenty, and here it's always less, and there is always the same. So these experiences I had when I was correcting the book in the same time I heard this was very nice. Yeah, voila.
Merci.
You live in Delhi.
Where I lived? In Gothenburg.
One question.
Yes.
Can you speak English?
No, I'm so but I'm so sorry. I had no time. For some reason, it's just because everybody was speaking English with me, no? And so then But I recorded a lot of Hindi, and I knew what was my kid, DD, what is DD? DD, sister. So, you know, some words I will remember, DD, and then, but the current conversation was always in English.
It's important to communicate with local people. Sometimes it's important to communicate.
It's absolutely important. Well, you know, Yes, I have the faculty, I go wherever, I speak to the people, even if I don't know the language. I say, yeah, there is, and then I go, well, what are you eating there? And then dosa, this was in the beginning. And so, but it is important. When I perform, for instance, sometimes I perform here and in Goa and in Jaipur and here and there, and I put my visuals, there I put in Hindi words, always. Because I don't have to say anything. I can just make a copy-coller in the computer, then I put them in my words, and then I have a text, it's called the same words, the same hopes, the same measurements, the same rhythm, the same sounds, the same words, the same phrases, the same people, the same lovers, the same eternity, the same questions, the same feelings, the same revolts, the same measurements. So, and this I project. We have just the words, and then I translated many of these words in Hindi because I gave in the translator, and then he gave me the word. And the last time I did it, there came one, yeah, you translated the word in Hindi, but there is a little sign too much. So yeah, sorry. So yeah, I do this, but for respect, because I want to integrate the other language, of course, when I perform.
You will understand as well. Those who can't speak English, you can understand what you're trying to communicate.
Yes. Yeah. So, and this text, I have many texts of repetition, like also in the Indian poetry. I learned about this by that there are many poems where phrases and so are repeated very often, and you will maybe not see, but it is a fact. Many of my poems, they have les mêmes mots, les mêmes phrases, les mêmes sons, les mêmes lettres, les mêmes mesures, les mêmes pensées, les mêmes gestes, les mêmes relations, les mêmes images, les mêmes rues, les mêmes pages, les mêmes idées, les mêmes envies, les mêmes répétitions, les mêmes livres, les mêmes slips, les mêmes dates, les mêmes licences. It goes over pages and pages like this, no, with a repetition. Or another one is I lost my car, I lost my key, I lost my head, I lost my money, I lost my book, I lost my bag, I lost my shoe, I lost my child, I lost my slip, I lost my language, I lost my pencil, I lost my knife, I lost my eyes, I lost my friends, I lost my jacket, I lost my home, I lost my lover, I lost my chair, I lost my reason, I lost my socks, I lost my brush, I lost my skin, I lost my vagina, I lost my breath, I lost my bicycle, I lost my language, I lost. Imagine you lost your bicycle, you lost your breath, you lost your sex, you lost your skin, you lost your lover, you lost your home, you lost your jacket, you lost your pencil, you lost your knife, you lost your child, you lost your book, you lost your money, you lost your reason, you lost your bed, you lost your identity, you lost your country, you lost your family. Imagine. So I have this repetition. While we were talking about the repetition, I don't know. So anyway, this is another poem. I will read it to you in German, but I have it somewhere in the computer. I played this with a tabla player. So he told me he hits the rhythm, boom, dum, dum, dum. And then I made tag aus, tag ein. It is a German. Then he made another rhythm, and I was reading this here. Komm zu mir, komm her, komm gleich, gehst zu mir, geh her, geh gleich, geh schon, geh doch. Wenn du bei mir, ich von dir, bleib doch, komm du zu mir, komm doch, komm schon. Gehst du zu mir, geh gleich, geh doch, geh schon. Bleib ich bei mir, bleib schon. Komm du zu mir, komm du zu hier, komm jetzt, komm gleich, komm doch. Geh ich zu dir, geh hier, geh gleich, geh schon, geh doch. Wenn du bei mir, bleib schon, bleib doch, komm zu dir, kommst gleich, komm doch, komm schon. Gehst du zu mir, geh doch, gehst gleich, bleib ich bei dir, bleib ich bei mir, bleib doch, bleib schon, bleib. And this we did together now, and then the text that I can read in variation with a retest. So.
The musical terms call it jugalbandi. They call it jugalbandi as somebody playing an instrument or reciting or singing.
Yes.
So they call it jugalbandi musical, classical.
Yeah. Yes, I hope so. We came this because of how I like it in India, how I like my cities, and that there was an influence since ever also through the music. This is how we came. So do you have any questions, or shall we drink a beer? Or
if you want.
Beer is good, you know. I bought a whole series of these books. So you know these books?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
I bought them French from New Delhi because it's handmade. And the other day I was walking in Nizamuddin in the streets, and suddenly I saw someone coming out of his shop, and he had a little book like this. And for me this was nice to have this book and to walk through the streets and this is what the book is really used. It is a kind of very
record. It was supposed to be this paper would not go bad for another 50 years. So, but now the quality is not that great. I don't know which one did you get. So at near Jama Masjid, there's only one shop which will produce books like these, and now they've started really, you know, they're making a great fashionable with all the, not only, this is a traditional Bani Khada what you have.
Yes.
Like with a yellow thread and a red base. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So if nothing would go wrong with it for another 50 years.
Yeah, I hope so, because I bought several, and I really want to fill it up and to write a story about maybe me in India or India inside me. So shall we go up?
For me,
Yeah, music.